Wholesale Hotline, where we cover everything to do with wholesale real estate. I'm Jamil Damji.
I'm Brent Daniels.
And I am Pace Morby.
And together we cover the most important parts of wholesale real estate.
Lead generation.
Conversion of sellers into contracts.
And dispositions. Guys, remember when you're watching this show, do us a favor and squad up in the comments.
Make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the YouTube channels and in the Facebook group Wholesale Hotline.
Most important, we want to know we're doing a great job for you and helping you build your business. So go give us a review on iTunes and or Spotify.
So squad up and enjoy the show.
Welcome to Wholesale Hotline number, what is this number? 223, 224?
No, 225, I bet.
225? It's usually right up top, and it's not there today, so we're just going to have to make it. Somebody let us know what number we are at for Wholesale Hotline. I'm Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP, and we've got a full house today. Go ahead, John. Introduce yourself.
My name is Galan. I'm a TTP, Astro, and SubTo student. Right now, wholesaling in the state of Florida. So far, I've done close to 200 deals in the last 2 years.
Nice. Helena?
Hi, guys. My name is Helena Wu. Me and
Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang.
yeah,
What
I'm
up?
SubTo, Astro, and TTP student as well. And me and John were co-founders of Easy Rest. We're wholesaling all over Florida.
Awesome. I'm Jamil.
Jamil Damji.
Yes, sir. Just
The man.
hanging out with my homeboys, my friends, and my homegirl over here. This is great. Great to see everybody. What's up, Pacer?
I'm just, living my farm life out here in Montana.
How you like it?
I don't want to ever come back. It's amazing.
It looks good on you, man. The peace is contagious. Even just in the Instagram stories you're posting and whatnot, I'm like, man, it just looks so nice over there. Like
Well,
your
you'll
blood
be here
pressure
soon.
down,
When are you going to come visit? Are you bringing Charisma soon?
I'll be there soon. Yeah, I'll be there for camp for sure.
Okay, cool.
But yeah,
What's
do you
fun is
feel
that I'm still able to do deals all the way from Montana. It's crazy.
do you feel like your nervous system like down regulates out there? Do you feel like your whole body feels like less, like just more relaxed, all the things?
It's kind of the opposite. I feel like I can work hard here because I get an extra 2 hours a day of sunlight. So I go hard till 11 o'clock every single night. The sun is up at 9 o'clock at night. It feels like it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So I get a lot more done. I get all my meetings done. And then the rest of the night, from 4 o'clock till probably 11, it's family time, dude. It's the best.
Amazing.
Yeah. These John and Helena are amazing. They're both leaders in SubTo. I know that they're also in out on TTP. But man alive, I want to hear all about their business right now. Let's talk about their business.
Yeah, beautiful.
Open it up.
So right now we are working on scaling to the Florida operation to fully delegate it, so we don't have to be involved in the day-to-day. We have about 4 sales reps right now, 2 dispo. We just hired another dispositions rep and a couple of VAs. So all in all, I think we have 12 people on the team, right? 12 people. So we're just working on getting that delegated, and then we're going to move into the California market next. And after that, we're going to work on getting into another 3 more markets. So we have 5 altogether, and then we're going to franchise out.
12 people doing what? What was the breakdown?
So we have 4 sales reps.
Yep.
2 people doing agent on market, 2 people doing agent off market. We have a VA that's pretty much in charge of all of the wholesaler leads that come in through the email and now our new deal portal.
Yeah.
Then we have a couple of other admin VAs, 1 dispo VA, 1 dispo rep. And am I forgetting anybody?
A data guy.
No, skip tracers.
Role.
Yeah, supporting role. And now we just hired another dispo rep because we do send out anywhere between 3 to 6 deals a day, I think. So we definitely need some help. Helena needs some help on the back end selling all those deals. So we're working on building the team even more, and then going to start scaling out.
It's beautiful.
scaling up.
I got a lot I want to know about. So,
Yeah.
salaried or commission only for 12 people?
Mix.
Okay.
Our sales reps right now are all commission.
Yep.
Our one dispo is base plus commission, and then all of our VAs are hourly.
What's the average hourly?
Average, I would say, was $7.
Yeah,
I think $7.
How'd you find your VAs?
Onlinejobs.ph.
Nice.
Where we found most of them.
Okay.
And then a couple I think we found from a different website, but most of them are onlinejobs.ph.
Shout out to Ralph. Ralph, what's up, buddy?
Ralph's the
Awesome.
man.
Ralph is incredible.
Yes.
Does he live by you?
He lives in Jersey.
Yeah.
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 And he's wholesaling in Jersey too. And he's one of the only people that I personally know that's killing it in Jersey as well.
Awesome. Good to
So,
see you. Good
yeah.
to see you, Ralph.
There's
I thought it was impossible to do deals in Jersey, guys. That's what I heard.
Except for Ralph Germain.
Yeah.
it's definitely challenging with respect to the data providers out there. It's hard to when you pull up a house in New Jersey and you can't even figure out what the square footage is on some of those things. So you definitely need like an agent friend or multiple platforms to be able to pull the data from. But because it's a little bit harder, it's like another one of those blue ocean states, right? People who really double down in there because it takes a little bit more knowledge, it takes a little bit more time. And, just like most things, when things, you add a couple layers of friction in it, people start running away. So
Looking for something else.
Yeah. But 200 deals, right? You guys are killing it. People who don't know you, how did you guys build to that? Like, what was help tell us your story. How did you get to the point where this is what you want to do? Because there's a lot of people that think, hey, I really want to do a big scaled up business, and some folks are like, nah, I want to stay lean and mean and keep my overhead low. You're choosing the first, right? Obviously, that was the path I went down, and for many years, I've had the debate in my own mind of like, what was the right thing to do? Should is going big and when it gets tough, those conversations get super loud in your head, right? Because you've got all these people to care about and make sure that you can cover overhead and do all the things. It's not just you, it's hundreds of other people, in this case dozens of people. And it'll turn to hundreds in time. And so walk us through that, because it's rare to find people deciding to go that path. So I just want to also share with people how does that happen.
Yeah, Helena, you can take it.
So for us, I think it's why we want to do wholesaling, right? And for us, is we want to build a business. It's not a means to the end in terms of making some extra income per month. We want to build an actual business that we can delegate, maybe even sell one day or something. So with that being said, scalability is really important. And there are painful stages where we have more overheads. We do more deals collectively, but after paying all the expenses, we bring less money back home.
Sure.
So that's definitely the pain we need to go through. And, when there's a slow month, it's not just the pressure on us anymore. It's like we have to make it work because we are responsible for all of our employees and their family. So definitely extra layer of pressure and stress. But, since our end goal is to actually build a business, so we want to, be courage enough to scale, to hire, to spend those money on the right thing in exchange for the return. And for us, is we picked a very niche area, which is micro flipping. We do a lot of GV deals. That's the niche we opened up and allow us to have the capital coming in and keep exploring other strategy. So even though right now the GV deals with other wholesalers still maybe like 80% of all of our transaction, but that just the guaranteed money, right, coming per month, and then we can use them to pay our salespeople. They were on base before. They were just off base recently. So we were able to pay them base, and now we're adding on direct to seller as well. We hired a great rockstar closer. So all of those is because we figured out one strategy, which brings in the capital, which allows us to reinvest and explore other strategies.
Helena, you said you're doing Astro flipping in some niche markets. What niche markets do you guys like the most right now?
So
it wasn't a niche market. We're only in Florida right now. So that's another thing. Like, I think in the beginning, a lot of people start off as nationwide wholesalers, where they're in I'm in Virginia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Texas, Montana, and they don't really know any market or the big players in those markets, or able to like really understand, the market at all. And so that's where you get a lot of people falling off, I feel like. So we just focused only on Florida.
Yep.
Like if you sent me a deal in Texas, I'm like, not me, but you could reach out to this person, that person. And I don't even want a fee. I don't care. I don't want to be involved because it's not my focus. So that's what we did. We just focused in one market, and we focused in the beginning on like JV deals, the micro flips, and which a lot of people either don't focus on at first, or it's like they focus on agents and then whatever comes their way. So that's kind of like how we niche down on the JV deals.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't intentional either. At first, we were more focused on the direct, and then JV deals start coming in, and we're like, we're not going to ignore these, so let's start working them. And then we built up our JV system, our JV model, and that's just been constantly. We could guarantee at least 6 JV deals a month. We just can't guarantee the fee. Joe, that's the only thing. We can't guarantee the fee.
I think it's interesting that you guys, I feel like since the very beginning with early conversations with you guys, it was about building this company to exit, to sell someday.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Still,
did you guys start with that as the end in mind, or was that, did you develop that? Because most of the time, and I'd love to ask the same question about Keegley, right?
Yep.
Because you guys have done a fantastic job of franchising and expanding and building a really strong brand around the country. So there's 2 ways to go in this thing, right? When we start out, we're just surviving. We're trying to make some extra money, get out of our jobs, be able to replace our income from our real estate efforts for all the other responsibilities we have. But then to look at it and go, I'm going to build something that's a big brand that I can exit someday. That's a whole different mentality, because oftentimes you're leaner. Yep. You're not taking as much home. You're more building. Your investments aren't in properties. They're in your brand. They're in, you know what I'm saying?
And your people.
So that's an interesting strategy. So
yeah, I could speak for myself. Like when I first joined Astro flipping, even you could ask Jamil on the early calls, I've always said I wanted to build a large company because I didn't want to just build something and reinvest it into properties and just have like a little something. Like I wanted to build a large like empire in wholesaling, which is just a cash.
I remember also in the early days, he was a CPA.
Yeah.
And so he had purview over a lot of really.
I still don't believe this dude was a CPA. I love John so much, but like every time I hang with him, I'm like, you don't give me CPA vibes, bro.
I know he doesn't.
For 4 years.
He doesn't. But he was, you could, some of the questions he asks, you can uncover that there's either an engineer or a CPA living somewhere in that brain of his. But what I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what I think happened was he would see so many of these real estate investors that he was doing their books.
Yeah.
And he was watching what they were developing, watching what they were building, and seeing tremendous amounts of wealth. And so I think seeing that, his first exposure to a coaching situation was with me, and then seeing what I had tried to accomplish over there. I don't know if that had a little bit to do with it, but I think looking at the other people and their books was, because you kept coming to those calls and talking about, the amount of wealth that these guys were making. So how much did that influence you, or did you come in and just have this intention to say, look, I know what the value of a business is, and so I'm not here just to do deals. I want to be here to build business.
Yeah, like when I was looking at everything, I knew like when I first started, because I had no intention to wholesale in general. Like I had no idea what it was, and I was just trying to get into buying properties, like the bigger pockets way, where it's just like, oh, let me buy it, live in it for a little bit, then buy the next one, and then just start stacking that way.
Yep.
I got like, it was funny. I listened to Pace actually on one of the first Bigger Pockets episodes that I ever heard him on, and I almost turned it off because I was like on my ferry back from busy season. I was like, I don't really want to listen to something. I kind of just want to go, brain numb and zone out on the ferry. And then I almost turned it off, but I remember vividly like Brandon Turner saying like, oh, and I literally wrote the book on creative finance, and this guy told me something, and I was like, okay, let me listen to this. So I listened to it, and then I joined the Facebook group, the free Facebook group, the creative finance one. And then literally the day after was the Secret Agent Challenge 1 that was posted. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to start taking action now. I'm going to watch this challenge. So went on that, learned about you, learned about wholesaling, got onto a call with the team. And I was just like, I felt it in my gut, like, hey, this is the path you need to go down. Like, because I was like, how did I get here? It's an investment. Like, do I want to do this? And I just felt it. Like it's one of those moments where I'll never forget, because it was like definitely a turning point in my life. And I was all right, let me do this. So then I started learning about wholesaling. I started getting into learning about different entrepreneurs and people that were, millionaires and billionaires and all this stuff, right? Because I wanted to find the pattern between all of them. Because no matter what venture they went down, they all say the same pretty much thing about mindset and intention and all that. So I was like, you know what? If I'm going to build this thing, like I might as well build something. Like, let me build something big, and then I could because once I build the first thing, then I could build 7 other things after I build the first thing, right? So let me build this thing as big as I possibly can to just see how big I could build it. And I saw what you did with Keegley, and I was like, that's really cool. I like the franchise model, because not for the money necessarily, because if I wanted to make more money, I wouldn't franchise, right? Because I would keep it all for myself. But for the fact that if I develop like a blueprint on how to scale a business, I could help so many more other people scale their businesses as well and change their lives and change their family. So that's why I wanted to build something big to impact myself, but also as many other people, because then they'll have employees and they'll have families. So it was just something I wanted to change and help as many lives as possible, and then start reinvesting, getting into like development, multifamily, buying businesses, all that stuff. But that's on the back burner because I'm building the one thing first.
Love it.
If that answered the question. I kind of zoned out for a second.
Yeah. How about you, Helena? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so there is mission and the goal in the end. So the mission of building these big franchise companies, because we want each owner of the franchisee become, millionaire. We want to help create as many millionaires as possible to help with their success, their life, and their family. So that's the bigger mission behind it. And in terms of the exit of the company, I think, do everything with an end in mind. So no matter if we want to sell it one day or not, the business itself needs to be sellable, which means it needs to stand on its own, which means we need to scale it and have the process and system get ourselves out of it. So to sell it or not, I think is still a question to be have. Maybe sell it, or maybe, give it to a private equity company, but we keep an equity percentage as the consulting role in the company. But the end goal is business needs to be sellable, scalable, and we can be fully delegating everything.
Yeah, like it should run without us.
Yeah.
And when we get to that point too, like another thing, like you don't think about it too, is like when you plan on building to sell at the same time, you want to pay yourself a nice salary. So where if somebody else was to come in and buy your company, they'd be paying that same amount of salary to like a CEO. So if you don't do that and you don't pay yourself a salary, what you really do is you kind of like devalue your company, because your net income is not exactly telling the right picture. Because if you're going to buy it, you're going to hire a CEO, you're going to have to pay them a salary.
Yep.
Your income goes down by that much.
Yep.
That's a really good point. We, Cody Barton and I are currently looking at a business to buy, and we start looking at the cash flow, and we go, man, this is really good. It's a roofing company. Man, this guy's making a lot of money. This is great. And then right when we went into like, all right, let's start talking about getting into contract with the guy. I know this is stupid because we've bought so many businesses. We assumed the guy was paying himself and he was on payroll. So we double checked the payroll again. He was nowhere on the whole entire payroll. And we're like, wait, that's a problem. We went back and looked at it. He goes, oh yeah. I'm not paying myself from the company at all. I'm like, okay, you're running the entire company. You don't pay yourself? Number one, Brent Daniels taught me this a long time ago. You pay yourself, and somehow, some way, magically, you make more money. The company makes more money when you take care of yourself first. And then number two, John, you're so right. Because we have to, when I buy that company, that roofing company, I'm not going to buy it and then run it. I'm going to buy it and have somebody else in there running that roofing company. So you got to pay yourself from your wholesaling business. And a lot of wholesalers just don't do that. I was one of those for probably my first 4 years. I would take all my money and I would reinvest it back into marketing, and I'd pay some bills and pay some stuff, but I never paid myself. And I just thought, like, I'm just scaling. I'm scaling the business. I'm reinvesting all the profits. Brent, why is that the wrong way to do that?
You give it all back. Listen, it's income minus profit equals expenses. Once you figure that out, you win. It's not income minus expenses equals profit. Sorry for the pure CPAs in the room. But when you set a specific target, a minimum standard, how much you're going to take home, It's going to affect the decisions that you make. It's going to affect whether or not you test things. And it also, in my opinion, as an entrepreneur, if you want to have these big exits, if you really want to be a millionaire, I think it's very rare, to be honest, that people actually want to be a millionaire. I mean, they might want it, but when it gets down to the nitty gritty, your financial thermostat that you have been encoded into your hard drive is going to start kicking stuff out. And you see it all the time. You see it all the time with people that came from nothing. All of a sudden they're throwing money at all sorts of different things and they're giving it all back because they don't feel in their soul that they deserve it. They feel like, it's too much. They feel weird about it, or they go and hire big teams of people to do a bunch of things, or they go and they get into, really big office leases, right? It's the financial thermostat. And the only way to increase that is be around people that are doing way more than you, that are actually taking money home. That's the only way.
Yeah.
That's the only way that you can increase your financial thermostat, is be around. That's why I honestly think that's why the whole mentorship, industry business came about, because there was just people that wanted to give back. And there was also people that didn't have anybody in their sphere, anybody in their circle that was at a place where they wanted to be. And I think that that's what really brought up the personal development and business development. And all this is being around people that are doing way more, making way more. They're just, it's a different mentality, and you need that to increase your financial thermostat, or you'll just give it all back. You'll just give it all back. I see it so much in real estate, especially with real estate agents that come out hot, especially with wholesalers that come out hot, or people that do really big flips off, early on in their career. I'm almost like, wow. Oh, I wish you would have gotten the smaller one and stepped it up a little bit to the bigger one, so that you had enough time to really mature as somebody that makes a lot of income. And it's really it's a big thing. It really is a big thing. That's why I challenge people. Set it at a 30,000 minimum standard. Set it at a 40,000 minimum standard, and don't hire anybody until you're bringing home that money. Challenge the threshold of your financial thermostat and see what happens. Because it gets you wiggly. You have to break your brain a bit.
One of the funny things about the concept of also doing this, where you build something bigger and you pay yourself a salary, versus when you're wholesaling on your own, you can have months where you can bring in, $100,000, $150,000. And if you have very minimal expenses, a lot of that can go home with you, right? You're going to save for taxes, but you know what I mean? You get to take that. So there was something that I realized happened to me in that world. Some of it was really good, and some of it I think kind of hurt, right?
Yeah. I
think the really good things is that I wasn't focused on, okay, I need to make this big deal, or I'm going to get this. And you lose that motivation towards chasing those ones, Whereas, for instance, compare that to when I was still coming up, Carlos and his team, right? Those guys were taking massive hits, right? Not bad, good hits, right? They were swinging for the fences, and Carlos could make a $500,000 in a month sometimes, just going off, and he'd spend $600,000, right? So there was a lot of money to be made, and I kind of missed that, because I was like, shoot, Hunter's not going to let me take home more than $20,000, right? Yeah. And so you're in that hamster wheel when you're still building, but then it gives you discipline, right? I think the thing that I learned out of that was discipline. And, now there's months where it's great, and there's months where it's not, but because you have such a big business and you have a war chest over there, you don't feel it either. Right. You don't feel it one way or the other, but
that's that Ryan Dice quote that it keeps playing in my head. It says, high performers won't do anything unless they have to. And when they have to, they'll do anything. Right. And it's kind of like when you're sitting on that, you're the dragon sitting on the big pile of gold. You know what I mean? It's like some of your, your claws get a little dulled. Your teeth get a little bit.
I think honestly,
sharp, you know what I mean?
What really kicked it into gear for me was you two. You bringing me into that meeting that day and showing me what you could actually take home, and then just getting to chase that man around the country for a couple of years was incredibly powerful for me as well. So like, you know, I was lucky that I had my two really good friends around me that I could level myself up with. But if a part of me feels like if I had just stayed there all day in that, where I'm just like in this corporate like widget machine, you know, I don't know that I don't know, dude. I don't know. What do you think, Pace? Because you've been around me so much. What are your thoughts about that?
You know, it's interesting how long you went by just making all this money by yourself and just basically, you know, cranking out these wholesale deals. Nobody even knew who you were. Yeah. I mean, everybody knew your name, but like nobody had met you. And there's like some romantic feeling about being able to work just from your phone and from your thumbs and make 50, 60, 80, $100,000 a month. And very little people know who you are. The challenge with that, right, is that the older you get, the less appealing that is, because you get to a point where you want to, you know, to spend a month in Canada and you want to spend, you know, a month doing this and traveling here and doing that. And wholesale is very much a business that you have to be on it like blue bonnet. Yeah. If a JV partner sends John or Helena a deal and they don't respond within an hour, they're going to go send it to somebody else. And then you're also training your people. So I know that's how it was with you, Jamil. Like I would text you, you know, my first 100 deals, Jamil wholesaled for me. I never had to comp a single property. And I would wholesale Jamil and he would give me an answer within 5 minutes. Like you really think about that. 100 deals in my first year without having a comp. Jamil did all that work for me. It wasn't just the 100 deals we did. It was the, you know, 5 texts for every one deal that I actually did. So 500 times. He replied to me 500 plus times in his first year. Meanwhile, he had all these other clients he was working with as well that he was as quickly, if not, you know, relatively the same response time. That's freaking challenging it gets to a point where you're like, okay, it's time for me to build a team, which is what you did.
Yeah.
But there is something just freaking romantic about the thought of like, I'm going to go sit on an island and just wholesale from my phone. You know what I'm saying?
It was kind of fun. You know, I remember I'd be exactly what you're just saying right now here, Pace. I can starkly remember being in Miami, hanging out with Nat and Taylor, sitting on a beach at the SubTo Hotel. And I made like $30,000 from my cabana.
That went to you.
And went right to me, you know? And so it was a completely different thing. And then all of a sudden we come back and Keegley gets formed and that all changes.
I had a conversation with somebody that we know very well that's well known in our industry. And he said he's never taken home more money than when it was just him and his assistant.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got a really big brand, which is interesting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, John, this is a good question from Joel. Good to see you, Joel. He says, so how did you choose the one thing, right? Because you guys are obviously focused on the one thing, which means you too said yes to the one thing, which means you said no to everything else. Okay. So that's a process. How did you get there? How do you know between dispo and acquisitions focus, and how were you able to manage others?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's 3 questions. So I'll answer the first one.
He's a CPA, dude.
Because I want to do it justice.
You know what I mean?
You know, it's a good question. Shout out to Joel too. I know he's being super consistent with coming on to Wholesale Hotline all the time. But so how do I choose the one thing? Well, the first thing is, I mean, with anything you're going to start, whether it's the wholesale business or any business, like you have to have the vision. Like, what's your end goal? What are you trying to do? Right? What are you trying to accomplish, and why are you trying to do it? So if you know what your end goal is, then you can start asking questions like, is this thing going to get me there? No.
Is the end goal to be rich? Is that just the end goal? What's the end goal?
That's going to be different for everybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like for me,
no, John, it's the same for everybody. Everybody wants to move to Montana. It's the same goal. Everybody wants that.
Everybody wants to be Pace's neighbor and go fly fishing. But I mean, you have to know what your end goal is, and that's going to be different. I think most of it usually stems from helping other people, like an end goal that is tied to helping. Because I do think everybody's purpose on here is to help other people in one way, shape, or form.
Yep.
Whether it be through building a big business that helps with charity, building a nonprofit, doing something in the environment. You're helping, the animals. So at one point, any of your end goals are going to be tied to helping or giving back to somebody. But once you know your end goal, like, okay, I want to build a large wholesale business. Okay. So now if somebody's going to ask me, hey, do you want to take down a fix and flip property? No, because it's not going to help me build my business. Right now, if I know, and from the beginning, I made mistakes, and I would much rather start off making 100 mistakes than being successful the first 5 things I do.
Yeah.
Because when you start off making all those mistakes, you build the resilience, the persistence, you learn so much, and you're not going to think like, oh, this is going to be easy. And then when you hit that first adversity, you're like, I don't know if this is for me anymore. You start to question it more. But I made a lot of mistakes in the beginning. I remember a Zoom I went on after Clever with you and Pace, like the community. And I was asking you questions about small multifamily. And you were like, dude, stop overthinking. Like just stop getting the analysis paralysis and just do something. Like take action. And ever since that, I developed like the effort mentality. So if I second guess and I was taking too long, I would say, all right, screw it. What does my gut say? And I just did it. And I didn't care if it was wrong or right, because if I'm right, I'll make money. If I'm wrong, I'll learn. Exactly. And I'll grow. So I just figured out what my end goal was. What is the one thing that I'm going to need to do, which is build a business. Okay. Now, if anything comes my way, is it going to move the needle forward? No, then don't do it. When you say yes to something, you say no to everything else. So if I'm saying yes to this deal, I can have to say no to all these other opportunities. And if this deal is not going to move me forward. So it's just a discipline. You have to develop discipline to know to say no, and just know, like, yes, there's opportunities everywhere, but is it necessarily opportunities you need to take on, or are those opportunities for you or not? Like, they're probably not for you if they're not going to move you forward. So just having the discipline and the vision in back of my mind, like that's how I stayed focused on the one thing. And it's been the best thing, because I know I tried nationwide. Yeah. I tried doing direct to seller, direct to agent, and direct to wholesaler all at the same time. I tried doing multifamily and single family. I tried doing multiple, everything. And I just talked to Jamil at one time on the mastermind. I was like, hey, this is what I think my plan should be. I'm just going to focus in Florida, and I'm just going to do agents. And he goes, yes, but also stream yourself doing it so people can learn. I was like, okay, cool. So I just did that, and I did nothing else besides that. Yeah. Like I had time blocks from 9 to 12 where I was calling. I didn't eat. I didn't say hi to my girlfriend. I didn't do anything. And if I had to use the bathroom, I had to wait till 12, unless I was going to hurt myself, then I had to go. But I mean, I did nothing else besides that during the time blocks. I was focused and only doing the one thing because I knew that's what I needed to do. And I mean, I think that answered the question. It kind of went off topic.
No, you're great. She's got a completely different path here.
Yep.
Yeah.
So walk us through that, Helena, because yours is from more of a corporate position. She was in finance, and I'm not going to tell your story for you. You go ahead. But yeah, walk us through the decision-making process for you. How did you choose the thing, and how did you make the decision then to join this crazy man and go do crazy things?
Yeah, sure. So I came from a corporate background. I was working on Wall Street, working in finance, investment banking, which is a high-paying job, but it's also very time-consuming. And I like the role itself in terms of the day-to-day, the role itself, the thing I was doing. And I still appreciate the experience because the underwriting and, being able to learn things quickly and being able to pivot quickly laid a solid foundation for my current business. But the pivot point for me is I feel like I'm keep working and building an empire for another big company. I'm not really building anything for myself.
Right.
And so my first, open-minded book is Rich Dad Poor Dad, which is the opening book for most of the people. That allowed me to start thinking about, okay, what am I building? What am I creating? And basically, I don't want to exchange my time for money. I want to do it the reverse way, which is I spend money to buy back my time. And I want to build something for myself. So that's when I start getting into, real estate. Wholesaling was able to allow me to quit my W-2 job because it provides me the immediate cash flow compared to buy and hold long term, which takes longer time. But that's building wealth is different. But I chose to do the wholesaling first, which allows me to have the cash flow to quit my W-2 job. And yeah, in the beginning, I tried different market. My intention in the beginning was to help other people, which means, I take on some GV deals, but to be able to help other people, I need to make sure I can help them sell their deals, which kind of forced me to build up the disposition side. Mm-hmm. And now the good thing is it's like a feedback loop. Now I have the buyer, I have their buy box, I know how they run numbers, etc. it goes back to the acquisition side, allow us to test other strategy, either is, more GV deals or direct to agent or direct to wholesaler. So it's more like acquisition or disposition is like a chicken or egg question. Some people think, okay, I need to have deals to be able to find buyers. Some people think, I need to have buyers first to be able to lock up deals. I think for us is we came from helping other people's perspective and build up the disposition side, which allow us to do even better on the acquisition side, from the hunt side.
Yeah. And like I was focused at first on acquisitions just because that's going to come down to your personality. I believe like if you're going to focus first on AC or dispo, like I personally I tried talking to agents and sellers and wholesalers. I at first liked talking to agents more. That's what I enjoyed more. And then as I started, going and I started working with more wholesalers, I actually liked working with and helping wholesalers more. So that's why I started doing acquisitions. Like talking to buyers wasn't something that really appealed to me, but that's why her and I work well, because she's really good at
unpack
selling.
that, because you guys are very different.
Yeah.
And I know you have extremely different skill sets.
Mm-hmm.
How does this partnership happen? How do you guys identify each other as an opportunity to work together? And have there been struggles?
Oh, yeah. So Helena and I were, Pace talks about this all the time when it comes to like partnering with people. You got to date first. You have a dating period. So Helena and I were doing deals together, JV style, for about 6 months or so. And then we realized like we both had the same ambition. We both work at really fast. Like we were always answering each other in seconds, right? And we just did a lot of deals together. And we knew the way we worked at that point. And we were like, you know what? Let's partner up. Like let's put it in writing. Let's make an LLC and let's partner up. So we partnered up, and she's more on like, and I'll let Helena, talk about herself, but like I'm more like on the personal side, like the culture side, and building those relationships with wholesalers and getting those inbound leads coming in. Helena is a lot better with the business sense, the talking to buyers, selling deals, negotiations on both the AC and the dispo side. And like, I could be a little bit too empathetic at times, and she could be not as empathetic. So we work well where she's like, you're being too nice. Like they have to go. I'm like, okay, sorry. And then I could be like, Helena, we got to soften up a little bit. Let's butter them up, and then we could tell them some of the bad news. So like we work really well that way, and we built a great culture as a result.
Yeah, we're super different. And if like we kind of did the personality test, culture index, people like us, we either get along super well because we have the trust, understanding, and we build incredible synergy, or it's going to be fire and water, basically cannot even get along well at all.
Sure.
So for me and John, like I'm more strategic and methodical and rational, but he's like more warm and fuzzy. So
and irrational.
Yeah, he's a lot more, understanding. So when I initially building the company, building a team by myself, I realized, people working with me or under me tend to feel like being intimidated, or kind of like too much stress and pressure. And I did not do anything intentionally to make them feel that kind of way. So now me and John, we are partnering together. We're able to put our strength in use. If it's more like business wise, partnership, we need to solve a problem, it's more so me coming in. But he's super good at building the culture, right? So I think I'm very proud to say that every single person in our company, no matter it's American or VA or far away, they love the job. Because some VA that have been working for another 10, 20 other wholesaling companies. And they said our company is the best from the process, culture, and people's perspective. So we wouldn't be able to build this incredible culture without John being there. But it's also a balance. It's like you're having a stick, but you're also having something, like encouraging you. So we are making sure we can implement, perform, accomplish things well in a very loving and welcoming, supporting environment.
Awesome.
It sounds like Pace and Cody, Jamil and Hunter, like these.
I was thinking the same thing.
Were you more comfortable finding the deals than selling the deals?
Always. I was so good at building the relationships and creating the partnerships, the friendships, and like having that bond with people. And then meanwhile, Hunter's in the background doing the exact thing that Helena's doing. Same thing happens with Pace, right? Pace is the guy who's able to go and create the relationships. He makes the whole office feel like they're invincible, like they're Superman. And then Cody's like, all right, And by the way, there's gravity, so stop, let's get back into the chair and sit and do the things, right? So it's like you have these yin and yang personalities that I think this is what it looks like, guys. And it's not just them. It's not just Pace and Cody. It's not just Jamil and Hunter. It's not just that. This is what it looks like. It's not going to be your best friend. Like I see that all the time when people want to get into business with each other and they're like, they're two people and you look at them, they dress the same, they look the same, they talk the same, they smell the same, they act the same. It's like, you guys are not going to make it.
Yeah.
You're the same person and you're not complimenting each other. You guys are going to step on each other's toes.
Yep.
You're doing the same dance moves.
Overlap.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. I don't know. What do you think on that? Because you're a sole proprietor. You're the one who says, I hate partnerships. And is this maybe why? Because you're like, I don't want to hang around with somebody who's like my opposite, or I just never found that, or I don't know.
Partly, I think that also you can hire somebody that can be your counterpart. I really do. I think you can hire somebody that has more of an analytical mind.
The way that she would be, or the way that Hunter is.
No.
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 Right? Like it's
No.
different.
It would have to be different, and maybe that's the whole difference. There is maybe there's more turnover in that, but I don't know. I think business partners break up all the time. I mean, I've had business partners for the first 15 years of my career. And then 17 happened. Dustin Mongra and I split,
right?
And he was that whole thing.
Yep.
And then I realized, you know what? I can hire people, treat them really well, bonus them like their owners. I mean, they feel like their owners. I do profit splitting, so it's that, right? And if push comes to shove, I'm going to take their advice because they're in the day-to-day, trenches every single day. If they say, no, I think we need to do this, then great, go ahead, right? I just think that it makes it a lot cleaner if there's just one person on the white horse, leading the charge. And then there's other people that, help with that. So just a different philosophy. And my income went up because of that, my personal income. But I'm not building something to exit. You know what I mean? If I was building something to exit and there was a partner that knew something technically way, way better than I did, you know what I mean? Then that would be a whole different scenario. But if it's going out and getting deals and selling deals, I've been doing that since 2004. Yeah. So, I mean, different businesses in my opinion, but you guys are building something that you want to exit.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to have, you need that lean and you need to have that built out and you need that thing doing amazing things like Keegley.
Yeah, another two things I want to mention is, although me and John were so different, our brain actually functioned pretty similar.
Sure.
We came to the same conclusion almost all the time. So it's very easy for us to reach a conclusion, but we just go about it a little bit differently. So collectively, it's a very comprehensive and well-rounded solution to solve a problem. And also, I don't know if you noticed or not, like when you talk to someone yourself or when I talk to someone myself, it doesn't have the same contagious power compared to when we show up and talk together. Like we close on the closer to, it's like, I feel like when people see me and him like showing up together, they sense that kind of balance and power coming from two different sources.
Yeah. Well, 1 + 1 cannot equal 2 in this business. It makes no sense. No. 1 + 1 has to equal 10, 100, 1,000. Yeah. You know what I mean? You need to have real leaders in that role that can bring all the different parts of your organization together and to get them real efficient.
Yeah, I think I heard I think it was like Wayne Dyer talking about soulmates, and people were saying like they think they need to be the same or similar. And he was saying like if you have two people that think the same, act the same, dress the same, one of them is just redundant. So like with Helena and I, where we do have those differences, but when we come to the same consensus, we both come from it from completely different like viewpoint. And like Helena said, like when we talk to somebody, like I could paint like a really pretty picture, and then Helena could show exactly how we're going to get that picture.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes, I can make you feel all good, and then she could give you the confidence that it's actually going to get done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I think we work really well. But the struggles, because I don't want to like gloss over the struggles at all.
Yeah. Hop in them.
We're still going through struggles.
Air to the tea. Yeah.
We're still going through struggles, and doing deals is easy.
Yeah.
Managing people is not.
Sure.
The struggles have been with people.
Yeah.
It's been with processes. One of the biggest mistakes I made was, and if you're new, what I would highly recommend doing is start documenting everything you are doing. If you have a process, like put it on paper and record yourself doing it. Because when you start training people and bringing them on, if you don't already have that documented, you're going to have to backtrack and do that. Take time out of your day to train them. So like documenting and coming up with even if they're not the best, like if you're not a systems guy or a systems girl and you're putting it down, just have something on paper that just details. You can make a process. And then when you start training people, it's a lot easier than just, kind of just flying off the seat of your pants or whatever that expression is. So it's always been with people, managing them, finding the right people. I personally don't like firing people. I'm too much of an empath on that part. Helena helps with those conversations because you could tell like I kind of like freeze up, talk around it, or I have to write something down and then it sounds like it's scripted. But she's really good at helping get the excess out, I guess.
It's
that's
tough
what I'm
conversation.
Yeah. With
what's the line, Helena? Is it this isn't working out, or is it it's not us, it's you?
I think I came in from also a very empathetic perspective, but I pretty much lay out the situation very honestly, right? And I kind of like give them thoughts to think about what they have done and what's the right option for them. It's not like I'm blaming on them, hey, you did us wrong or anything like that. It's just not a good fit. So if we keep you here for longer, it's a waste of your time, our time. So we want something better for your future. So that's why we let you go.
Yeah.
So it's for you.
It's the better
Different direction.
You're not going to be successful here, so don't waste your time trying to be when you could probably do something better somewhere else.
I mean, I respect it. Look, the thing also is that when you are telling people what is wrong, like why it's not a fit, it's so important to be honest about that. I'm gonna share with a little bit with myself about some of my team here. I recently let a team member go, and I didn't share the reality of why I was truly letting this one person go.
Yeah.
I wanted to be nice.
Yeah.
And now this person's out in the world still acting like an asshole. Right? And they're going to continue on that way. And they're not going to have been able to learn that, hey, I might have a bad attitude. Like I rub.
Is that why they
the rub
didn't last?
Yeah, 100%. They rub everybody the wrong way. Always negative, always always rolling their eyes, always having a thing, always in a mood, always overwhelmed, always,
Those are company destroyers.
It's a really, really hard personality to be around, And so, and I don't know if it was on my end, just not wanting to have to like deal with the repercussion of having to have that conversation, or maybe just wanting to be nice.
Yeah.
I guess, but I didn't share the honesty of like why I was like truly because I let a couple people go, but this specific one was attitude. It was attitude. And so I think it's really important to be real with people and to share that, and now it's too late for me. Now I can't go back and be like, hey, retroactively, I wanted to tell you why. I think you should know this.
What advice would you give that person?
Well, look, if everybody is having the same thing with you, it's not them.
Yeah.
Everybody can't be a
Do they have
jerk.
to be in a different industry? Do they have to be in a different position? Do they have to start their own company? If you were to give them, if they're like, I understand. I don't know how to fix this. What would you do?
I think therapy probably was necessary.
Sure.
Meditation.
I think therapy, just like really, and self-awareness,
Yeah.
Some people are just not aware of how they.
I say
come
most
off,
people are not
you know?
aware. Most people are not aware.
Yeah.
But you're super honest with people when you are letting them go. Has that blown up in your face at all, or
No, really. And another one is we have one-on-one, right? So when I bring something, when I'm letting them go, it's not the first time we talk about it.
yeah,
I tell them when I notice the issue and I give them an expectation. If there's no change, no improvement, then we have that conversation again when I let them go. It won't be a surprise.
Yeah.
I'm firing you. You should see a therapist.
Sydney asked the question, Pace, what do you do when you have to let somebody go? The best way to let somebody go is when you first hire them. You write down in the employment agreement what success looks like and what failure looks like, and you have that conversation up front. And when it comes time to letting them go, you pull that back out and you go, hey, we had a conversation when I first hired you. We said, here's what success looks like. Here's what failure looks like, and what failure looks like, and what the conversation should be. And now we're having the conversation. I think you're going to be happy somewhere else. And you blame yourself. You say, maybe it's not us, maybe it's us, maybe it's our training, maybe it's this, that, and the other. But Helena's correct. Also, let me tell you something. I don't do things I don't want to do anymore. I haven't for a long time. So just like John, I don't fire anybody. I have an integrator partner that does all of that stuff. I walk into the office almost every month and I'm like, who are these 5 people? And they're like, don't worry about it. And so I don't, my problem is I become friends with my team members. And when it comes time to letting them go, I can't do it. So Cody, my partner, has that conversation, employment agreement. What does success look like? What does failure look like? Also, when they first get hired, they're told exactly what to expect with their next raise. Your next raise will come when X, Y, and Z happens. Because what happens with a lot of employees is that the employee mindset is, I've been here for 2 years, I deserve a raise. No, you deserve a raise when you excel at your job and you make yourself not disposable. So that conversation is had up front so that when people start, having conversations with their wife or their spouse, hey, when are you going to get a raise? Inflation's killing us. They can pull out their employment agreement and it says, your raise has nothing to do with how long you've been here. Your raise has to do with your performance. And here's the way we measure your performance. So it's systems and processes is how Cody does it. And I'm sure Helena is exactly the same.
Yeah. The upfront contract, you let them know exactly. I mean,
so how do you do that with 4 salespeople that are commission only?
Well, how do we have fire them?
Well, how do you have the conversation? I assume if they don't make any money, they'll fire themselves. So that's not really tough. VAs, you really don't have to do too much because, I mean, that's typically, set up in your training of them, right? And making sure that they do it. But I haven't had any issues with any VAs not doing the work that they're supposed to do. It's just, some of the critical thinking isn't as, advanced as somebody that's, more of a salaried or somebody that's going to be in the group. So what performance are you watching? Dispo?
So those 4 salespeople, they are doing agent outreach, on and off market agent outreach. So KPI in terms of number of calls being made, all contracts locked up per week or per month, those are key KPIs.
Also offers made for MLF, they're doing on market, and then off market addresses, like actual off market addresses, not other wholesalers deals sent to them through through an agent. That's also like how many are they getting and how many new relationships are they making a day for off market.
Yeah, I think for us, so they were on base before. We kind of call it a probation period.
Sure.
Because after hiring right or wrong people and firing so many times, we kind of developed the skill set of being able to tell if someone's gonna, be a good fit after 2-3 weeks.
What are the top qualities of a good fit?
I think for me, is several qualities, kind of
Deals.
the only one. So I would say taking initiative, having that ownership. Secondarily is having, just being intelligent, right? Being able to learn things quickly. And the third one is problem solving skills, being self-sufficient. I think those 3 are the most important ones for me.
Yeah, and if they keep asking questions that's in the training, or if we just went over it the day before, like, oh, why is this clause in our contract? And then an agent asks and they ask me again. It's just like, I recorded the video and I put it there, things like that, where it's just like, okay, are you asking a question to ask a question, or have you actually tried to figure out the answer first and then come and ask the question later? So the initiative, the problem solving skills is very important. And then also if we say, hey, minimum 50 dials, don't just do 50 or 51, we're saying minimum, but you should be doing, if you want ownership of the role, you've been doing 60, 70, you'll do as much as you can in the time you have.
Sure.
So it's just kind of that dog on the bone energy for a salesperson, and now we're doing the culture index, which is all gonna be about personality testing and seeing exactly which people should be in the right seat, and looking at our company as a whole. And then any new hires you bring in, hey, is that person a salesman? No, not on their not part of their profile. They're more integrator side. So we won't be putting the wrong people in the wrong seat in the beginning, which will help a lot, save us a lot of time and energy instead of investing our energy into the wrong person for the wrong role.
Your acquisitions are salary plus.
Yeah. Base plus commission. They're all licensed though, so we can do it that way.
Yep.
We found, so when we were bringing people on strictly commission, total gong show.
W-2s?
No, when it was strictly commission.
Right. No,
So
with now.
now it's W-2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
It's so much more expensive.
It's terrible.
Oh
terrible.
my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, 1099 is the best. And then, your accountant's like, listen.
Here's the thing, right? Yeah, you can't do it.
Right.
Because do they have, well, it's 1090, you say to your accountant, it's 1099. They're like, yeah, but where do they report? Monday.
Yeah.
Here. Okay. Is there a time they report here? Yeah. Is there a time they leave? Yeah.
Do they work for anybody else?
Do they work for anyone else? No. Okay, they're not 1099.
Now you're paying all the taxes.
Oh, yeah,
You're
taxes.
paying all the benefits.
Oh, yeah.
Probably insurance.
Yeah, we got health insurance for people. Like you end
We
up
switched over 15% profitability gone.
you end
all
up
that.
Yeah, you end up having
Seriously.
to really, and it's tough. It is tough to get that going. But on the other side of that, when they hit their stride and they're making a great wage, and then they're taking home big checks because they're bonusing out incredibly well, you get retention. And I mean, Pace is at that office as often as me, probably even more than I am these days. And how many times do you see new faces in there on the Keegley side, Pacer?
I see new face. I mean, you have a large organization, so the answer to that is I see some people that have been there for 4 years.
Yeah.
Over and over and over and over. A lot of them have been there 4 years.
Yeah.
And then, there's a few people I see probably a couple times a month. I see new faces in there that I don't know, but I'd say it's half and half. Like, you guys have an amazing ability to keep star talent.
Yeah, we've done good with that. And it works. But the base, and back to the question, the base and commission blend was it, because when we were only going commissions, we couldn't retain them long enough, because at the end of the day, they still got to pay their bills, right?
Yep.
And when somebody's coming in and they're on full commission and they're trying, but it takes time to do this business. It takes time to build up a pipeline. It takes time and follow-ups to get to the check, and that's going to take a little while.
Yep.
And if you're struggling, needing to make the car payment, pay the cell phone, and cover your mortgage or your rent, then there's only so long that the significant other at home is going to allow this to continue.
Yeah.
Or you, for that matter, allow it to continue, right? So then the other pressures and struggles become what make the decision for you.
Yep.
And that's unfortunate, because we probably lose a lot of talented people to just that, the pressure of bills when you go the commission only route. So I think, base plus has always worked, because at least bare necessities can get made. And then now that person is working for, the highest paid. Now, the other thing too, is we'll do, we'll structure it so that at one point after a certain number of deals, the base falls off and they go to a whole other split on commission.
Cool.
And so for them, they're incentivized to do volume.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, if they can hit a certain number of deals a month, now all of a sudden base falls off, but their commission rate goes to, 40%. It's like, okay, I'm doing everything I can this month to get there, you know? So that also works.
Yeah.
Here's a good question. Jason Martinez paid $10 to ask this question. So let's go to all four of you guys. I think my answer would be different than all four of you guys, but maybe not John and maybe not Helena. I don't know. Jason says, my whole family needs me to help them get into homes. I should be able to help. I should be able to be the one to help them move up to the next level. Where should I start? Should I work for local investors to gain knowledge? Let's go to Jamil first. Jamil, what's your gut answer?
Well, whole family needs to get into homes. I mean, I understand that. I had the same situation happen in my world. The way I did it was we all didn't get into homes right away. And of course, the responsibility on getting my mom and dad into a home and helping my sister as well was on me, because I'm the reason we lost our homes.
Mhm.
So I felt the pull that I had to show up. But for the first little while, we were very lean. We all lived together. I mean, maybe it's just a cultural thing, but it was okay. Like an Indian family, we'll have like 10 of us in the house, right? And so we all lived together. We all took care of each other. We all pooled money into one bank account and lived that way. With respect to the expenses, those were greatly diminished. And then I just went. Now, of course, Jason, I was doing deals for myself, and I had an understanding of how to do this business at a level where I didn't really need to learn from somebody. And I'm so self-motivated and I'm so disciplined that I had nothing to worry about with respect to knowing that I was going to show up every day and knowing that I was going to work my butt off every day until I was done, not until the job was done, until I'm done. I will keep going. You know, it's like, forget the job being done. If this job is done, I'm going to keep going until I can. Yeah. Right. So for me,
real quick, you moved to Canada. How old were you?
5.
5 years old.
Yeah.
And is there other family members in Canada?
Yeah. Yeah. I have uncles and aunts.
Aunts, the whole thing. Yeah. And they've been there established, or are they first generation?
They were all, no, first gen, like my, they're just like my parents.
Right.
Everybody came from a refugee exodus out of East Africa.
But with a bunch of money.
No, nothing.
What do you mean?
Everything was taken from them.
Yeah, gold or something.
Everything was taken from them, dude. They had
You just started new.
Started brand new.
Your parents came over. You're
with
5.
Nothing.
And running around.
Nothing.
You're living with your family.
They were getting help from the church.
Yep.
Other community members.
With like jobs and.
No, like food.
Yeah.
And, my dad was shoveled gravel.
Right.
For years.
For his job?
Shoveled gravel, like 12 hours a day.
Was he a built man coming over?
He got pretty stocky. Yeah. My mom was a data entry operator.
Yep.
And then her second job was in a meat packing factory.
Mm-hmm.
So she'd go 8 hours as a data entry clerk, and then she'd do another 6 hours at the meat packing factory. And that was every day.
Mm-hmm.
Every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Now they came with nothing. Dude.
Right.
Nothing. And so I seen that.
So then they built it up, and then you lost it all for them?
Yeah. Yeah. They built it up. They didn't build anything except get to a point where they had paid off their home, which is huge for them. Right. Yeah. And I totally bombed the whole thing for them. Yeah. I lost because they co-signed on my projects deals. For me. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And so unfortunately, when my deals went belly up, their whole situation, dude, they took my mom's Camry. Like the Toyota Camry, bro. Right. Like it's not even. What are you doing that for?
Yeah.
They literally came and towed the Camry out of her driveway.
And then you moved to California?
Then we came to the States, yeah.
As a family?
We tried, yeah. But then they couldn't, they weren't allowed to stay too long. So then my sister went and actually started rebuilding us up while I told jokes for a couple of years in LA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you found.
And then I went back into wholesale. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you came to Arizona to wholesale?
Mm-hmm.
12.
On 12.
And do they have a house?
Picked up an $18,000 check.
Yeah. Yes, sir. That's exactly
Jamil,
right.
All the way from LA to pick up an $18,000 check on 12 and decided I'm just going to stay here and crank out deals.
That's it. That's why I got it tattooed on my knuckles.
12.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
And so when you hear Jason saying, "Hey, I need to get my family out of this," it hits it.
It resonates with me at the deepest level because I've lived that, and
incredible.
But Jason, what I'm saying is that the answer doesn't look like a storybook answer. It's not the fairy tale until you get towards the end of it, my brother.
Yeah.
And even then, the end of it's just the beginning of another one. So it's going to take time. It's going to take sacrifice. It's going to take people banding together. It's going to take belief in yourself. It's going to take them believing in you too. Right. But if you do this, look, if you have enough self-awareness to know that, hey, it might be better for me to go work for somebody else so that I can learn the ropes. I can have some accountability and I can have structure around me. that will help me get an understanding of what I need to do so then I can go branch out on my own, do that. If you are a self-starter, if you are highly disciplined, then you probably don't need you don't need to go work for an investor. You need to join SubTo, or you need to join TTP, or come into the Astro community, or whatever that looks like, or connect with people in the community and do business with them and start learning from others. Because if you have enough accountability and self-awareness to know your strengths and motivate yourself and remain disciplined through the process, then working for another investor is a waste of your time. But it's not going to happen where you're going to buy everybody homes next month, unless you get Pace's help, because I know he's helping, like, I don't know, 50 families in the next little while get into houses. So he probably has a completely different answer than I do, but that's just my approach. Yeah.
What do you think?
Actually, my answer, yes, that I was going to go there for a minute, but really my answer, I also want to go to Matthew Ennis. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer the question to you to be a contrarian, the opposite. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Helena, John, and Brent Matthew Ennis's question. It's a really good one. He actually has a couple like back-to-back comments. I think it's just awesome. So here's my thought. Why do you feel responsible for your family, your mom, your dad, your brothers, your sisters, etc.? You're not responsible for them. The reality is most people's families are just going to hold you back, and they're going to say negative things, and they're going to rely entirely on you. Meanwhile, there are families out there, your employees, your future employees you haven't even hired, like John and Helena. You have 12 people that are relying on good decisions you make every single day in order for them to feed their families. Those people are trying to help the whole ecosystem you've created become successful. They're participating in the success. They are helping out. They're rowing the raft, so to speak. They've got an oar, they're dipping it in the water, and they're helping that thing move forward. Those are the people you have a responsibility to before your family. I'm sorry. I will fist fight somebody that disagrees with me in the comments. It's not your responsibility to take care of your mom and your dad. I'm sorry. Can you get to that level? Yes. Is that something that I do? Yes. But I did not start there. You start by building a business and taking care of people that are in your raft first before you start taking care of people on the shore. And it's interesting. I watch people go, oh, I have this responsibility to my family. Like, what? Your sister who is like on unemployment? She hasn't had a job in 15 years and she's waiting for you to just hand things to her? No, get yourself out of that environment. I don't know your situation, but I can tell you Jamil made sure that he had the oxygen mask on his face before he called his parents and said, okay, it's time for me to get you a house. He wasn't just figuring out step 1, get mom and dad a house. No, that's like step 12. Okay. And 12, I did not mean to do that, but 12. Okay. Matthew Ennis asked a really great question, which I love. And I want to ask the question, and then I'm going to actually ask my question to Helena and to John and to Brent. Matthew says, hey, more serious question. My wrestling coach is always asking me how much longer I'll keep doing this for no reward. He says it out of love because he's helped me multiple times after I moved to Florida on such and such date. Okay, great. So here's the thing. When I read this, all I can hear is I'm not actually doing anything other than consuming content and watching and reading books and going to seminars and paying for things. I'm actually not doing action because it's physically impossible, guys. It's physically impossible if you put an hour a day today. Like literally, if you went to the Creative Finance with Pace Morby Facebook group and you spent an hour in there, you could scroll right now and just buy a deal. You could do a SubTo deal. You could do a seller finance deal. You could do a cash deal. There are so many people putting deals in that free Facebook group. There is no reason why you can't go do a JV deal today, other than you are not doing anything. You are consuming content and you are not doing anything. It is physically impossible. I don't care if you're a pirate and you have a wooden leg, a metal hook for an arm, and an eye patch. I don't care who you are, where you came from. It is physically impossible for you to have gone. He says in another comment, he says, it's taken me a year since I've been paid. physically impossible, Matthew. I'm so sorry to just be tough love. Also, your wrestling coach, what the hell does he know about anything? He can kiss my butt. Okay. There you go. Jonah actually asked a really great question. He says, how much money does your wrestling coach make? 40 grand, probably a year. Probably makes us about the same amount as an average real estate agent. So I'm not trying to be mean. I'm trying to be a little bit shocking to get your attention. But I want to ask John, Brent, and Helena. Do you think this gentleman has been taking consistent action and he still has not gotten a deal in a year?
I don't want to say if he's taking consistent action or not, because I don't know what actually he's doing. But I think two aspects I want to touch on. The first one is he mentioned keep doing this with no reward. So he's talking about the result. So he sounds like very result attached, which is fine. But I think the bigger reason is, what's the reason behind doing everything? Are you actually enjoying the process? And result is just what flows in your way when you actually put actions and intention out there, where you are doing that every day and thinking, okay, when my result is coming, if not, when am I quitting? And so I think, the enjoying the journey and figure out the bigger reason why behind it. And sometimes, like when I first start calling, I call 12 hours per day and I did not lock up any contracts. It feels like at the end of the day, I have wasted my whole day. But it is not, because I'm doing it for the sake of doing it, putting in action, because I know the result will come later. It's a compounding effect. So the contract I'm locking up next month or in 2 months is not because the action I took on that particular day. It's because the action I took 2-3 months ago. So that's the first aspect. The second one is the power of one more. So when I'm in the thick of something, I'm trying to figure it out, I wouldn't think, okay, where is my, end goal, or how long can I get there? It's like climbing the mountain. I wouldn't think, okay, where's the top of the mountain? I would just focus on the step in front of me. It's like when I'm driving, when it's like very dim, foggy outside, I only focus on the road that can be lit up by the light in front of me and do it one step at a time, as opposed to worry so much about when am I going to accomplish a huge goal. So that's for me.
Yeah. I mean, another thing that I hear too, it's like, I've been doing this for a year with no result. And when my wrestling coach is saying, when am I going to get it with no reward? A lot of it is also focusing on the fact that you're not doing anything or you're not getting results. And when you start focusing on, like the lack, or like, hey, I'm not doing it, you're going to keep it's just going to be like a subconscious belief, just like that financial thermostat. Like, you'll only keep what you believe you're worthy of, right? Otherwise, if you have too much, you'll spend it all. If you have too little, you'll make what you need, and then you'll make some more, you'll spend all that, and you'll keep going back down to that thermostat. That's the same thing with like the mindset. If you're just saying like, hey, I'm doing this with no reward, you're focusing on the wrong things. You're focusing on the fact that you're not getting paid. You're not doing things. I mean, how much did you grow over that year? Also, like, are you doing busy work, or are you doing like actual work that's going to move you forward? Because you could be like, high performers could do 4 hours, what it takes normal people 12 hours to do. So just because you've been working for a year doesn't actually mean you're doing the necessary work that you need to be doing. So you got to really like reflect with yourself. First, don't listen to people saying, oh, how long you can do this for no reward. A lot of people, when they see somebody reaching something or taking that risk, they're going to make you feel worse about yourself. So you stop doing that so they feel better about themselves. Because everybody wants to try to start a business, do something by themselves, but they don't actually do it. And when they see somebody doing it, they're like, why are you doing that? That's risky. What are you doing? Like, stop doing that. Come back here.
You could also ask the wrestling coach, well, you never made it to the WWE. What the hell are you doing?
How can I learn from you? Right. So, I mean, like, don't listen to the naysayers, but be real with yourself. Don't lie to yourself either. What
action activities have you done lately? Let me show you something just really quickly. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Okay, watch this. Watch this. Watch this. This is very simple. I'm going to show you guys something really, really cool. Okay. We are going to do a little screen share, and I'm going to show you how I can find a deal right now. Watch this. I can go to Keyglee.com, Keygle.com, Keyglee.com. And I can go over here and I can go, man, I want to do some investing. Let's go look for some properties. Okay. I'm going to, wait, this is only in Arizona, right? Oh, it's in Florida, Minnesota, Nevada. I'm all over the country. How about, let's just choose Arizona because that's my market. Are you telling me that there's a deal, there's a deal, there's a deal, there's a deal. These are, wait, I have to cold call these, right, Jamil?
No.
Wait, are you telling me that these are active deals ready for me to flip right now, or maybe even ready for me to co-wholesale, do a JV or Astro flip on these bad boys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's see if we can find one in Colorado. Oh my gosh, yep, I can get one in Colorado. I can get them in Georgia. Okay, check this out. This is cool too. Watch this. I can go to landwatch.com. When I go over to landwatch.com, I'm just going to search everything in the United States. There are right now, look at this. I'm going to make this big for everybody. Look how many owner financing land for sale listings there are. Now, these aren't just land, my friends. These are homesteads. These are RV parks. These are mobile home parks. These are cabins, hotels, all sorts of things that you can do. You want to go wholesale land? These people will sell to you on seller finance. They're already listed as owner financing. 13,577 of them right now. If you don't have a deal, it is one reason: you have not taken action. That's it. There's no other answer. There's no other answer. Your wrestling coach probably doesn't know how to articulate that to you. He probably is like, dude, when are one of these books going to pay your bills? Guys, you could buy as many of these books as Amazon will let you, and this book will never pay your bills.
Mm-hmm.
I promise you. No podcast is going to pay your bills. No seminar you go to is going to pay your bills. You have to take the information. You have to go and implement and do the thing.
So
Right now, there are deals available that are already cold called, followed up with, contracted, and wholesalers are saying, please buy my deal. That's happening right now. Helena and John do 10 of them a month. They're looking for buyers. There's 3 ways to make money in real estate, guys. Stop thinking wholesale is the only way to make money in real estate. You can wholesale a deal, you can fix and flip a deal, or you can buy and hold a deal. Those deals are everywhere. Jonah Corchin is in the side chat. Jonah Corchin sells deals every month. John sells deals every month. Brent sells deals every month. Jamil sells hundreds of deals every month. There is literally no reason why you can't get a deal other than you haven't taken action.
And just because you've been at it for a year, like if you actually break down how many hours, like focused hours that I do in this business, it might only add up to like a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and it, I don't want to just, I know Matthew, and I understand there is, since he asked the question here, I'm going to say it, but like he has the tendency to go in these little, on the waves internally. Right. And so if you're on the hamster wheel and if you're letting yourself get emotionally dysregulated because something didn't go your way just this moment, like tried to co-wholesale a deal a little while ago, didn't work out, got in the dumps. It's like, I'm not doing it anymore. And it's like, well, how hard is it to keep bringing yourself out of that? And when you're in that energy, you're not going to have any enjoyment in what we're doing here. And if you're not having any enjoyment in what we're doing over here, then how are you going to actually be good at this? Right. Mm-hmm. And then how are you going to make yourself do the things that require you to follow up again and to continue on that process? And like, sometimes you'll be talking to people for 60 days and have nothing to show for it. And then the next month you'll have 9 deals.
One conversation.
Right? It's like things take time to snowball and create, and you've got to be okay with that taking time and not getting so attached to like, when's the money coming?
Yeah.
Right? When am I going to get the money? Because that desperation just it's not a good look. It's not a good look, and people can sense it. They can feel it, and then they don't want to work with you because they're like, the energy's off. It's a thing, man. And you gotta. There at a point you've got to take responsibility for what's happening inside of you.
Yeah.
That lets you keep getting yanked into that mindset. It's because I know he knows better because I've seen him on the opposite side of that. But it's a cycle.
And when you get just attached to the one thing, like just getting a deal done, it means I made it. You lose track of everything else and all the other aspects of the business. Like you can't just have conditional happiness on, hey, I'll hit the deal and then I'll be successful. Like you're not going to be successful if you hit that deal. You're going to be like, oh, wow, that hit. What else am I going to do? And you're going to lose track on everything. So if you cancel a contract, you're not going to think you actually gained anything when you gained a lot from canceling a contract. That's one of the hardest conversations ever, right? So like there's so much to learn.
And also learning why.
Exactly.
Like, why did we have to cancel? What do we not do again?
Yes.
Right? What mistakes do we not make again? How do we, change the outcome here by doing better next time on the front end, right?
Mistakes are the steps that you got to take to get to success. And if you are afraid of making mistakes and you think you're just going to take one step and that's it and be done, like that's not going to happen. Like I canceled my first 15 contracts in a row when I started, and I was working when I was doing CPA. Had a CPA job. I had my side tax business and I was building a wholesale. I was working 4 a.m. till 11 o'clock at night almost every single day for those first 4 months of the year. And it paid off because I did my first deal before busy season ended. Right. But it wasn't like, I'm like, oh, when I get the deal, it was like genuinely falling in love with the process and growing. And every time you had that little doubt, I just knew, okay, this is what I'm building. I'll just live in that future for a little bit. And this is what helped me. But living in that future for a little bit and seeing like, hey, this is what my life's going to be if I keep pushing. Because if I stop pushing right now, guess what? I already know what my life's going to be like. It's going to be like it is right now. Nothing's going to change because I'm just going to keep doing the same things over and over and over again and expect a different result. That's a definition of insanity.
Massive imperfect action. And if you're not confident, then build skills. That's what builds confidence. And you build skills by massive imperfect action. Yeah. That's it.
Yep.
So you got this. We encourage you. You could go and challenge yourself to find and lock up a deal this week. Make it so that you have to. You absolutely have to, right? I mean, that's the old story of like if somebody, kidnapped your kid or your dog or your cats and said that you'll never see him again unless you get a deal in the next week. Could you do it? And if you ask that question in front of audiences or one-on-one, people always say, yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm. Confidence. They know what they do.
Then what's the issue here? The issue is, you don't have to. That's the problem. That's the thing that you have to get over. This is a choice. Mm-hmm. This is a choice. And when you choose something that you've never done before, you are doing it out of faith.
Yeah. How
strong is your faith that you can get it done? And once you make $1 in this business, you cross the bridge from faith to fact. And once you're in fact, then you know that you can do it and you break through that barrier and you go.
There's a deal. You could do a deal a day. There is a deal out there, like out there in the world, right? Where there's one deal that has one seller that's willing to take the number that you're about to offer. Your job is to go find that deal, right? You could do a deal a day. It's literally out there, right? So focus on the fact like, hey, I'm just going to keep finding that deal, and just keep going each day. Take the action, learn from it. What did you not do today? Did you do everything I needed to do? Ask yourself questions. Like the power of asking yourself questions is the most important thing. Like you think somebody else is going to tell you exactly what you're feeling or why you're feeling a certain way or why you're not getting what you need. You're the best person to ask. And we shy away from asking ourselves questions. For some reason, I don't know. The best answers I've ever gotten, besides from the three of you guys right here, has been when I asked myself those questions. Yeah. Why do I feel off? What can I do better? Have I done everything I said?
I have a question for everybody. Do you think I should invite Matthew and his wrestling coach to do a deal day with me where they just spend the day with me doing deals? Matthew, get your wrestling coach. I want you to get him together and say, hey, I've got a guy.
I'll do it with you, Pacer. It'll be fun.
Okay.
We'll all wear tights.
This will be fun. We'll get a couple of SubTo students together. We'll get a couple of Astros and a couple of TTBs together. I will do it as long as your wrestling coach comes. Okay. And I will actually pay for his flight because I'm sure his wrestling salary ain't going to do that. I will pay for his flight. I say I got a little bit of Helena in me, just so you know, just a little bit. Okay. She brings it out of me. I promise you. So if you get your wrestling coach to come hang out, I'll get a couple of people. We'll get Jerry and Jamil up here in Montana. We'll spend the day together. And what we'll do is we'll film the whole thing. And we'll show people how, if I had a gun pointed at my leg, how would I get a deal done in an hour? And you can time me. You can time me. Remember, guys, a deal is way more than just wholesaling. I know that this is Wholesale Hotline, but so many people get tripped up on, I have to wholesale a deal. Fix and flip a damn house, my friends. There's so many wholesalers in here that want to sell you a house. Do you care if you make a wholesale fee or if you make $40,000 on a fix and flip, or do you just want to make money? You could buy a fix and flip right now. You could get a wholesale deal today. You could do a buy and hold today with no money out of your pocket. Matthew, reach out to me. Okay. Let's get your wrestling coach. We'll make a cool little video training out of it, and we'll give it away to the whole entire Wholesale Hotline group. We'll give it away maybe in 30 days or so. And so here you guys go. We documented step by step exactly what it would do, or what we would do to go get a deal in an hour. Okay. Nathan Harris says, Pace, please do this. I'm inviting him. I don't say something I don't mean. Okay. Matthew, reach out to me. Let's get it done. Okay. And I want your wrestling coach. I want to wrestle him. How badly, you know, that dude beat my ass so bad. Are you kidding me? I couldn't even wrestle my 3-year-old child this morning, bro. Like, I can do deals, but I can't wrestle a toddler. So, really good questions today, by the way, guys. There we go. Matthew Ennis says, I'll talk to him tomorrow at practice. Is Matthew young? Like, he's in high school?
No, he's in like college age.
Okay, so it's his college wrestling coach. Got it.
Yeah, no, he's trying to be a professional wrestler. His ambition is to be in the WWE.
Oh, really?
I love it. All right, that's cool.
Well, maybe that's why the wrestling coach is like, what are you doing? Focus. You know what I mean? I don't know.
One thing.
Love that.
Here we go.
Jihad.
Jihan, we've done over 300K in sales this year so far. I listen to Brent Daniels every morning while I'm doing cardio. That's right. Thank you, brother. God bless. I'll keep the energy up so that you can keep your heart rate up. I promise. That's awesome. Thanks for being
Matthew Ennis says, I feel like this has painted him in a bad light. No, Matthew, you have to realize that we are on a podcast and we got to be a little bit entertaining, brother. Sometimes we just make jokes. You know, could you imagine if we couldn't make jokes and poke fun at people that is just lighthearted? We think your wrestling coach is an awesome guy, and we're just creating some sort of drama. So this will be entertaining for everybody to watch part 2. That's all. Your wrestling coach is cool. And he'll even be cooler when he gets his first deal. That would be sick. Okay.
And plot twist, it's Bret Hart.
No,
I'm kidding.
Oh. I was gonna say that's awesome.
Brent, how do we get Brent to come to community camp?
July 20.
We're doing 2 of them this year because it got so big. It got out of hand, honestly.
Can't do the July one. That's my wife's birthday. What's the second?
Okay, first couple of days of September, like September 1, 2, and 3.
That's my birthday, so I can do what I want. Awesome.
I can do what I want.
Will you find out from Aaron if you guys can come up to Montana for the first week of September?
September?
I will be all the way. I will be in Montana till September 10th.
You will be in Montana for the next 15 minutes, and then you will be on a flight somewhere, dude.
No, I canceled. I've turned down. My team has turned down a little over 150 speaking requests.
Wow.
My next speaking request is July 21st, Madison Square Garden, and then my next one is September. What's that?
What's the event in Madison Square Garden?
It's actually a wrestling tournament. I'm going to be wrestling Matthew Ennis's wrestling coach. So, and then I have everything else turned off until September 3rd. Right after community camp, I'm going down to Arizona to speak at Aspire. So, that'll be the week that I'm back home. So come hang out with us, Brent. Send me a text.
Yeah, I know your number.
Okay. What do we have going on this week, guys? As we wrap up the show, what do we got going on this week? Where can people find out more information about how Jihad made $300,000? Just listen to Brent Daniels on Wholesaling Inc. podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I got the same old comping mindset on Sunday. Come hang out. If you're getting down on yourself, you're feeling like there's more you can do to keep your energy up, keep your faith. Sundays, 1:00 on my YouTube channel.
Nice.
Come hang out.
Yeah, we just keep selling deals. We're going to stay here for a week to shoot some content on the disposition side to help the community people. And also we're going to spend Thursday and Friday to learn from our coach on Culture Index to help us to better help our employee and people around us.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, same thing here, hanging out with Jamil and Ethan, Andy, and Helena. not used to the heat, but I'm getting used to it each day. But yeah, I would definitely recommend going to Jamil's mindset thing. Mindset's been the biggest thing that helped me. So that I completely think it's worth it.
I've got a incredible new course coming out on my YouTube channel tomorrow about getting your first deal. Deal Machine is doing some incredible things, free skip tracing, a lot of other tools. And we break down for an hour a whole course on getting your first deal. And that'll be released tomorrow morning on the Brent Daniels YouTube channel. So if you are not subscribed, go and subscribe to that. You do not want to miss it. It is absolutely bananas. And then we will be breaking down so many more things on Wednesday on the live show. So definitely get over there, check it out. And we love you guys. Go out and find a incredible.
Yeah. Wholesale Hotline. We out.
See ya.
Or just say squat up.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
What are you doing?
I didn't say that thing.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
So squat up and enjoy the show.